Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Yes, they are the latest to pressure the company, joining a group of liberal musicians like Neil Young, who have been taking their songs off the platform in protest. They are upset with recent interviews Joe Rogan has done with vaccine skeptics. Well, Spotify is responding to the firestorm by announcing it will now display a content warning on any podcast discussing COVID. Joe Rogan defending himself here.
Do I get things wrong? Absolutely, I get things wrong, but I try to correct them. I'm not trying to promote misinformation. I'm not trying to be controversial. I've never tried to do anything with this podcast other than just talk to people and have interesting conversations.
Greg, that was not good enough for Joy Behar. Joy weighed in with this.
Hasn't he been also chastised and corrected, and then he just goes back to his craziness again? I mean, I don't know that he can be reformed. I was disappointed that more musicians and singers, et cetera, did not pull out. This would have been a good opportunity to show what you believe in, and I didn't see it.
This is a person that is operating for years on good faith of saying horrible, horrible things and has never admitted it. At least, I mean, the reason why Rogan is so big is because he's so open to being wrong, and that's why his podcast is so popular. I have a new nickname for the prince and his wife, HarryMeg. So HarryMeg managed to get millions and millions of dollars out of Spotify and do one podcast, right? So
Mega Harry's better.
Stop it. It's HarryMeg. They actually figured out a way to work less than royalty. and they claim to hate royalty, and they're a bunch of deadbeats. Spotify should be focusing on them and not Joe Rogan. It's also funny to see all of these out-of-touch cranks coming after Joe Rogan because they wouldn't be able to find a podcast, much less find his podcast. This is what you call pass-along outrage. Somebody says it to you, and then you absorb it. Joni Mitchell, she thinks a podcast is like trying to catch like a tadpole. She doesn't know what it is. You know, and I'm saying this as somebody who is a big fan, who's been a fan for years. I can't listen to a full podcast of his. I listen to one a week. There's like 5 a week. They're 3 hours long. So even a fan, I'm a fan, I don't watch 70% of it. So these people are freaking hypocrites, pretending that they know or somehow heard something. If they actually watched one of his podcasts, even if he's wrong, they would see the context. Like he is all over the place. He's doing an incredible service. They should just go find something else to listen to instead of these little ultimatums.
It was interesting with the Harry and Meghan. If they had stayed in
HarryMeg.
If HarryMeg had said this, had stayed in Britain and said this, then it might have been front page news there.
Right.
In America, no one cares what you think. Also because you haven't done a podcast. What Greg is bringing up is something we've said before, which is a lot of people that criticize Fox News have never watched it.
Right.
And so they don't know what is actually being said.
Like your family.
No, she watches.
That is true. She hate watches.
Your sister.
Yeah, no, they've never listened to an episode, and I had never listened to a Rogan episode until last week. And I became a fan last week, and I listened to the H.R. McMaster interview, the Jordan Peterson interview, and this guy, Tim Dillon, who's a comedian. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what Rogan was about until I listened to it, and all he does is listen. Mm-hmm. And then he asks the questions that you'd want asked at the same time, and it's just like a real conversation. And he's patient, and he covers topics that could be taboo in corporate media. And the reason the media doesn't like him is because he's better at their job than they are, because he doesn't come after something
do Alex Jones
with an agenda.
Who cares?
Geraldo, a lot of people have interviewed Alex Jones.
You had Gigi Allen on your show.
Yeah, and you of all people shouldn't talk. But
that.
Yeah, exactly, Geraldo. But you know what?
That's when it was groundbreaking.
But that's what a good host would do. You go and interview a controversial subject, you listen, you challenge them, and they do challenge, because some of these Rogan interviews, he will say, whoa, I'm not sure that's true, and then they'll have a producer pull up a survey or a stat that says, whoa, you were wrong, and then they'll correct the record in real time. No one does that. It's refreshing, and I think they want to censor him because they fear him. Because everybody knows who he is with a huge audience, and no one can name a single host on CNN.
Yeah.
All right, Geraldo, what you got?
Well, I think that I love Joni Mitchell and Neil Young.
I think they're good friends.
You've hung out, right?
Yes.
If it had been Taylor Swift and Drake threatening Spotify, would be a whole different story right now. And I do think that the Joey Behars of the world did leap at the first inkling of the Neil Young thing, and in anticipation of an avalanche of big names that did not materialize. So I think Spotify, from a corporate point of view, is in the clear. I do appreciate they're finally putting a consumer warning. The opinions expressed by this are not so far.
It's like, that's fine, whatever. But what about his point, Judge, that a lot of things that people are complaining about were things that maybe used to get you canceled, but now it actually turns out to be truth.
Right. Well, and that's really started with a lot of the left deciding what was misinformation, what we shouldn't hear. And that was their excuse for canceling people and taking information out of newspapers or in social media. But what I think is even more interesting is the fact that the Joy Behars of the world, Neil Young and Joni Mitchell, they're all concerned about misinformation. But for 4 years, this country was torn apart with Russian misinformation. I didn't hear any of them come out and say, you know, it's terrible what they did. It's terrible how they tore the country apart. That was misinformation. Everybody's got to apologize. We've got to shut them down for that misinformation. But no, it's ideological leftist nonsense. And as for Harry Meg, I'm happy to go with that one.
Thank you.
As for Harry Meg, they are pathetic. They are irrelevant. Even their own country doesn't want to give them security. I don't know how they got $25 million out of Spotify and did one podcast.
I want to know, though.
No, because they
Can I find out how to do that?
off the thing that they despise. Oh, we hate royalty, but we are royalty.
And
now
also,
we're American royalty.
Also, they said, we don't want publicity.
Yes.
But Mega Harry is more elegant.
No,
Jeez,
Harry Meg is the point.
Big, Mega,
missed the point.
Mega Harry.
We call them the Duke and Duchess of Netflix.
Harry Meg.